Good evening, folks. I'm Smoking Joe with the Cracker Culture Podcast on Smoking Joe Nation YouTube and the Cracker Culture Podcast on Rumble. I would like to ask you to please subscribe, like, follow, and comment on our show so it helps others to view our content. Today, Florida's Governor, Ron DeSantis, who I have openly supported in the past, held a press conference in Cape Coral, Florida, along with Ashley Moody. The topic of increasing punishment for retail theft. I'm definitely not against stiff punishment to prevent criminal behavior from repeatedly being perpetrated by the same individuals. I have personally attended several of these bill signings and press conferences, so I'm aware of how they're orchestrated. The messages sent to organizations that are favorable to the governor and the task of making sure the seats are filled to make it seem like everyone is dying to hear what he has to say. Yes, I admit to being one of the participants to bolster his image. But more than not, I knew my presence would make some of the establishment cronies a bit irritable. I stopped receiving invites when I openly admitted I felt that Ron was being selfish when he changed the right to run law for his own benefit, and I felt he abandoned the very Floridians who supported him to lead our state. Now, don't get me wrong, Ron DeSantis has done some great things for the state of Florida, and I'll never take that away from him. I don't regret my support for Governor DeSantis, because he was by far the better choice than nasty Nikki Fried or that chunk Charlie Crist. I watched in amazement as he and Miss Moody discussed the harsher penalty for shoplifters who average thefts around $50 range and making it a felony if they committed the crime more than, I think, 2 or 3 times a year.
Sure that the penalties are severe enough to deter people from doing this into the future. And right now, we have a situation in Florida where you only get a felony if you do 5 different retail thefts within a 45-day period. Well, excuse me, you shouldn't do it at all. But if you do it and get caught, you go back to the well again. They should drop the hammer on you. And so we want to make sure that we have that period of time much longer in terms of looking at the thefts, and you should not have to get 5 thefts to make a felony. So we're going to work to say, if you have 2 thefts in a year, at most 3 thefts in a year, that's not going to be a misdemeanor at that point. That is going to be a felony offense. And that's going to make a big difference because people have to suffer really significant penalties when that's the case.
Bewildered by the Cape Coral City Council seated front row, with several Lee County commissioners and other elected government officials, smiled at every word spoken. Surprisingly, in the wake of the stipend that almost the entire city feels like is a theft, was never mentioned. Repeated theft that was retroactive from October 1st. Not a mention of the protest about J.C. Park. Not a mention of the Mayor John Gunter's violent past or his attempts to infringe on our First Amendment rights to free speech. He tries to shut us down every time we talk with his little dabble. Then the dumbest question I believe anyone could have asked was his opinion on Collier County Commissioner Rick LaCostro's arrest.
Governor.
Yes. Next one.
Yes. Yesterday, Collier County Commissioner Rick LaCastro was arrested. Is your office looking into this situation? Is it possible he will be suspended?
We are looking into it. I don't think as of this morning we knew what he was arrested for. I don't think anything had been put on the clerk of court website yet. So obviously my job as governor, I have to basically discipline local elected officials if they are doing things that are neglecting duty. The Constitution lays it out. Misfeasance, malfeasance, incompetence, drunkenness are certain things. And so if somebody is brought up on charges, sometimes that can trigger that suspension power that we do. So I don't have any information beyond just the fact that he was arrested, And so we kind of let this play out, and then as we get the facts, if I have to act, then we will act.
And the governor admittedly stated that he hadn't heard nothing about it till that morning. What special ed journal's question is this about a political figure in a totally another county? LaCastro has no effect on Lee County. Why would that reporter even ask that question? Oh, and she did make sure to mention that Brian Hammond would like to name the Sanibel Causeway Bridge after him.
Commissioner Hammond is here. He's proposed adding your name to the Sanibel Causeway. What's your reaction to that?
Where is he at?
He's right up there.
Well, I'll tell you this. I'll let them decide. But
and we all know what that's about. Single member district, super mayor. We got you, Brian. We know what you're trying to do. Why are the news sources not expressing the community's outrage on the council and the mayor of the very city the governor is addressing? Where the hell was Mike Lombardo with his mighty opinion? I mean, it seems like he signs these bills with invisible ink. This is proof that your elected officials don't give a tinker's damn about the very citizens they were elected and sworn to protect and serve. Folks, we need a grassroots uprising. We need people that are not beholden to developers, that are not beholden to political establishments. We need people that want to get our paradise back. And if the governor is not going to address an issue that has been week after week after week expressed in public meetings where the very public is getting shut down and not allowed to speak, we have a problem. Florida, it's time for you to wake up. I hope that someone will get Governor DeSantis this message. And quite frankly, I'm not afraid of none of you cowards in elected office, especially not in Cape Coral. Any of you just want to talk to me, I'm man enough to listen to what you got to say, but you better be man enough to hear what I got to say back. Anyway, I'm Smoking Joe. I love you, Florida. You'll see me real soon.